Luna Matt, the Loons are 8 games unbeaten.
I heard that.
Then why do I feel this way?
We're all there, man.
Welcome to the Looney Bin, a podcast dedicated to expanding Minnesota United fandom one newbie or loonlet at a time. I'm your host, fully grown loon, Dan Elias.
And I'm the loonlet, Matt Leaf.
On today's episode, it's another 0-0 draw that will test our skill of keeping the show interesting. We'll talk about how the Loons better be ready for the high-flying, supporter shield leading Vancouver Whitecaps this upcoming weekend, even if they do rotate. And we'll check in on the U.S. Open Cup round of 32 draw that has the Loons flying to Kentucky in just over 2 weeks. But first, Matt, how was your weekend with the fam?
It was lovely. We were over in Green Bay. Man, they are getting ready for the draft in Green Bay.
Okay.
You'd swear, I don't know who is coming to town.
Not for the Army, though.
No.
Okay, the NFL draft. Okay, that's good.
Hosted in Green Bay, and
Oh,
the town is all aflutter about it.
I see.
Yeah, schools are closing and all that. It's crazy, man. Crazy, I tell you.
I was in San Francisco this weekend. I rode in a driverless car.
Oh my God.
A Waymo.
And how did that? You made it?
Twice. We did it twice.
How did it feel?
I mean, I took a lot of video. I mean, it was impressive. I mean, the hills, the stop signs, stoplights, it stopped for pedestrians and crosswalks. I mean, it was pretty impressive.
Wow.
I lived to tell the tale.
And you made it.
I made it.
I saw a video of the guy who had an apartment across the street from the Waymo parking lot.
Okay.
And for a while, there was a glitch in their software that every morning at like 3 a.m., all these Waymos would start pulling into the parking lot and honking at each other.
Get out of the way, Waymo.
Beep, burp, beep. It was like it would go on for 45 minutes. The guy's like, we got to fix this.
Yeah, for sure. All right. First segment, guys.
Journalistic integrity and loose threads.
Okay, first one here, journalistic integrity number 1. We're talking about the Toonies last episode. I said that Griffin Dorsey scored twice. He's actually a Houston wingback. It's his brother Logan Dorsey who plays for the Toonies. That's thank you to the listener who wrote me about that one. Yes, Logan Dorsey is plays for the Toonies. Griffin Dorsey, Houston Dynamo.
Got it.
All right, this is loose thread number 1.
Yes.
After Matt's Hacks trivia last week, I wanted to do some research into what those tools were.
I'm looking forward to hearing what you came up with.
So first, the butt gauge.
Yes.
What is the butt gauge? Okay, so it's a tool primarily used for marking outlines for mortises, which are shallow, rectangular recesses to be cut into the wood. So it's like when the wood's coming together to hold, I think, a hinge.
More like a hinge. So the top of the hinge is flush with the top of the wood.
I think the butt gauge allows you to router out the right amount of space to hold the hinge.
Mark it out.
To mark it out
for cutting. It doesn't really get used a whole lot anymore, but yeah.
The cat's paw. I know everyone's wondering what the cat's paw is. Also known as a cat's claw, is a specialized hand tool primarily used for extracting nails from wood.
It is.
There you go.
Yep.
And the bastard file. Do you know why the bastard file is called a bastard file?
I do, but I'm assuming you also found out.
Would you like to tell us, or should I?
Well, it's kind of a play on how rough the saw is,
right?
The file is, right? But it
it
is called a bastard file, but it's very coarse, like a bastard might be.
Yeah, I think it's also because there's typically 2 kinds of files, like the extra rough and then what's called a second cut file, and because it's in between, it's a bastard.
Mm-hmm.
And then just for fun, I looked up the dog leg pry bar just to make sure it wasn't actually a thing.
Okay.
And then the first result on Google was the lady foot pry bar. And I was like, oh, there's a lady foot pry bar. That's cool.
Is it an actual pry bar, or did you end up in something naughty of some sort?
No. Actual pry bar. Let's get into loon or loonlet trivia here, though.
Whoops, sorry for the blast of music there, everybody.
It's all right.
Maybe we can take that out in post.
We'll find out. This is Loon or Loonlet Trivia, guys. We are testing Loonlet Matt's soccer knowledge. He's new to soccer. He's new to Minnesota United, and you're doing all right. You're above 50% on the year, 51.5%. Had some ups and downs, but let's see how this week's session goes for you.
I'm a little nervous.
Are you?
Yeah. Been off my game lately.
Well, you were down, then you were up, and I think you were 3 for 5 last week.
Yeah, I know, but just mentally right now where I'm at as a person.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get you focused in on question number 1 of Loon or Loonlet. This is multiple choice. The Loons are now 8 games unbeaten. Of those 8 games, how many have been draws?
Oh, that's a great Loon or Loonlet question. There's
2,
been a lot,
and I got options. I mean,
okay, multiple choice.
It's 2, 3, or 4, right? Okay, so you can. I mean, you can.
What?
Yeah. How many of those 8?
4. Let's see. Yeah, final answer C, 4.
He shoots, he scores.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
They got 4 wins and 4 draws with
That's why
this
I hate calling
8-game unbeaten streak.
I hate calling it unbeaten.
I mean, it's unbeaten.
I know, statistically only.
All right, multiple choice here.
Okay.
Question number 2. The Vancouver Whitecaps' leading goal scorer in 2025 has scored 4 times against the Loons in 8 matches previously played. What is his name? Is it Brian Black, Brian White,
Saw it coming,
Brian Gray, or Brian Purple? One of these days, it's going to be the joke answer.
Yeah, I know it is, and you're going to find it. But see, Black, White, and Gray are all probable last names.
Do you remember us talking about it? Anything popping into your head? Like, oh, yeah, Vancouver has that one player.
Yeah. Brian Black is talking to me. I'm going to go with A. Final-ish answer.
Not even close.
Brian White.
I knew it. I freaking knew it.
You knew it.
I knew it.
All right. Let's get into question number 3. This is open answer. We haven't had one of these in a while.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Question number 3. What makes a ladyfoot pry bar different from all other pry bars?
Oh, that is priceless.
Yep,
Just
I'm bringing
slapping me in the face.
I'm bringing some Matt's hacks, some Loonlet trivia to the Loonlet DIY. Why is a ladyfoot pry bar called a ladyfoot pry bar?
I'm going to guess it has something to do with wearing high heels and kind of the high arch of it. So I'm wondering if a ladyfoot pry bar has a kind of shaped like a shoe and it puts less pressure on the wood that it's pulling out of. Total guess. Ooh, he's deliberating.
I'm just gonna, I'm feeling good about it.
He shoots, he scores.
I was waiting for you to hit the wrong answer, but
I mean, I feel like someone could probably come in and be like, "That's not even close." But here's what it says: it's like a roll head pry bar, so it is about the curved shape of the bottom. Pry bar specifically designed for heavy duty prying and fulcrum applications, often used in the automotive industry.
Oh, to not crack the body. Okay.
They're characterized by their tapered or curved end. So I think with the shoe, the sort of way you were talking about that, I think that's correct.
Okay.
We'll go correct.
All right, good. Thank you. All right, feeling good.
All right, back to soccer. Question number 4. This is actually over or under. Minnesota's own Paige Beckers was drafted number 1 overall last week by the Dallas Wings of the WNBA. Is Paige's rookie year WNBA salary over or under the 2025 MLS reserve minimum salary of $80,622?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Minimum reserve salary in MLS
80,000
is $80,622. Is the number 1 pick in the WNBA making more or less than that number?
I'm pretty confident it's less, unfortunately.
Final answer.
Final answer. Lock it in.
He shoots, he scores.
I wish I was wrong on that one.
It's 78,831 is
the
her
number
rookie
1 pick.
But the good news is She's making $1.4 million in name, image, and likeness money this year.
Good for her.
There you go, Paige.
Get paid, Paige.
Yeah, right? Okay. Last one. We are 3 for 4, I think. Yep.
No, did I get any of them wrong?
Yeah.
I did.
Black.
Yeah, freaking blind.
You got
Brian White.
Okay.
Whatever.
Question number 5. The Loons will play at Louisville City in the U.S. Open Cup round of 32. Louisville City is coached by a former MNUFC player from 2016 before the Loons moved to MLS. What is the name of their head coach? Is it Danny Sale, Danny Rowe, Danny Cruz, or Danny Paddle? And I have a note here for you just because I know I write these out for Matt so he can read them with me. I don't always spell the last names correctly, but I'm saying them correctly.
Oh, you son of a gun. 3 of the 4 of those could be spelled differently.
Exactly.
Oh, my gosh.
Of course. But you should know that the correct answer may be spelled differently, but it is said in this way.
You could say that for all 3 of those.
Danny Sale, Danny Rowe, Danny Cruz, or Danny Paddle.
Yeah, not that one. But I'm going to go C, Danny Cruz.
Final
answer. Lock it in, baby.
He shoots.
Yes.
He scores.
4 for 5, baby.
Nice work.
4 for 5.
I had no idea where you were. Can you turn me down in my ears? I think you just turned me way up.
So I bump it with my fat finger.
Yeah, maybe
I did. Sorry, my bad.
I didn't know where you were going to go with that one. But 4 for 5, good showing.
Yeah, thank you.
When Brian Black comes to town.
I'll never forget his name now.
All right, let's do some quick hits around the team. Let's talk U.S. Open Cup first. So we just mentioned it. The Minnesota United's heading to Louisville City on March 7th. It's a 6:30 game. They just entered the U.S. Open Cup in the round of 64. They beat Loudoun United 2-1. And Louisville City, I think, Matt, the big takeaway here that I'd like you to know as we go into this game against a USL championship team, this is one of the most in-form, high-level USL championship teams that exists in the U.S. at this moment.
That is just excellent news because here we are, unbeaten.
We are,
We're still 0 for 8.
I know. Unmovable object, unstoppable force,
Yeah.
whatever, because they are 7 games unbeaten themselves in all comps, including the U.S. Open Cup game. They are coached by former Loon Danny Cruz. He's been their coach since 2021. He was the coach of the year in 2024. He's been mentioned quite frequently when there's an MLS head coaching opening as a possible candidate. He hasn't quite gotten his shot yet, but in 2024, they were number 1, so last year, in the USL Championship standings with 24 wins, 4 draws, 6 losses, a plus 43 goal differential.
Wow.
And they're doing well this year as well. They're in second place. Like I said, they haven't lost, 4 wins, 2 draws, 10 goals for, 6 against. So this is not the type of game where I think folks might traditionally think it's the US Open Cup. We can just rotate and walk over them.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a game that if we don't take it seriously, they will walk over us, and it's in their building.
Yeah, not looking good so far.
Well, I mean,
let's see what happens.
They're going to have a game a few days before and a few games after, and so are we. And so everyone's going to need to figure out how to approach this game. The good news is if we win, we do host the winner of St. Louis Union Omaha. So we could get a home U.S. Open Cup game if we can take care of Louisville City in Kentucky. This is going to be, I think, right after our away game at Austin and right before our Inter-Miami home game. So question for you, Loon Matt. Are you imagining a heavily rotated squad for the U.S. Open Cup? How would you maybe consider approaching how serious you would take this game compared to the 2 MLS regular season games on either side?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Again, Dan, with just putting me on the spot here.
Well, that's the whole point of the show, right?
I know, right. Just make me squirm and look like an idiot. No.
You can just say, what do you think?
What would you do, Dan? I would say to put my eggs in the basket of the U.S. Open Cup game.
Yeah, I mean,
there's more riding on it versus just 2 regular season games. And, depending on who shows up from Miami, who knows what team is going to be there. So you can't really depend on that, like save everybody for Messi or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can't really depend on the game after. And I guess the US Open Cup probably going to have some more teeth to it and more, it's a bigger competition, more important.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I was asked this on Blue Sky, and I think actually the game I would maybe rotate the most would be the Austin game
Mhm.
leading into the US Open Cup game. The reality is we have not had 3 games in 8 days on our schedule yet. They've been playing only every Saturday so far. So this
Right.
is the first midweek game of the year, and I don't think we have any evidence that they can't go with sort of a first choice lineup for all of the games. It's really a matter of maybe taking Tanny out in the 60th at Austin, so he's fresher for that next
Rotate him
game.
a little bit sooner than normally.
Maybe Kelvin comes out early in the US Open Cup game, but I still think you can sort of go with your number one. It's really the midfield right now. If Owen Jen doesn't get healthy by this time, we have Carlos Harvey as our midfield depth at the moment and untested Ho Yoon Jung.
Mhm.
So it's really going to be interesting to see what they do in the midfield. And he hasn't been rotating Song Bin up at forward either. So it's
Right.
really hard to know what Ramsey's approach is going to be. But I could see them maybe playing a little bit of a weaker lineup at Austin and then ramping it up to that
Mhm.
Miami game.
Right. When is the game again? The one we're talking about? In August?
7th. No, May 7th.
May 7th.
The US Open Cup is 2 weeks from now.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Oh boy.
It's coming
We
up.
better figure it out soon.
A lot of soccer to watch. All right, let's talk about the GA Cup briefly. I think the U16s and the U18s are officially done. It's a mixed bag of some victories. The U16s did get a win over San Jose. It was in penalties. They got a win at the end over Tampa Bay United. And they lost a few close games to DC United, Seattle, Atlanta. So I think the U16s might be coming back from GA Cup a little bit disappointed. They had been doing pretty well against other MLS U16s, and this maybe wasn't their tournament. They lost quite a few more games than they won. The U18s, they had 2 wins in group play, so that actually put them into like the premier playoff bracket of the GA Cup. They beat Vancouver's U18s, and they beat the Premier League's Leicester City, although the Premier League Leicester City that is going to be relegated next season. But it is their U18 team that traveled here, and Minnesota got a 1-0 victory over them. They end up losing to San Jose in this like playoff. It's a draw 1-1, but they lose in PKs. And then they go on, and they just always have these extra games just to make sure everybody plays a lot of games. So they call it the showcase. And they beat NYCFC's U18s, but they lost to Independiente de la Correra of Panama.
Oh, yeah. Of that one.
That one. Right?
Okay.
Right.
I wanted to make sure which Panamanian team we were talking about.
So, Matt, your detailed take on the U18s and U16s performance at the GA Cup.
Dan, my same response as always. I have no capacity to even pay attention to that.
Yeah.
We should post the video because I may have gone cross-eyed at one point. I don't know.
The video of me talking?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing here before we get into what's making us feel like a lunatic. I just wanted to do a little bit of context setting for all this conversation around the potential MLS schedule change.
Yeah.
So in some of the sort of hypothetical schedules that have been floated out there, one of those models has basically like decision day, the last game of the year, ending around this time of year. So hypothetically, that Dallas game, if we weren't making the playoffs, would be the end of the regular season for Minnesota United.
That would feel so strange.
I know.
So strange because we're just getting into the good time to be watching soccer, right? It's just getting into spring and things are just starting to take off and you'd be shutting her down.
I know. If we are not a playoff team and that Dallas game is your decision day game, or even that Vancouver game is your decision day game, a week from now,
that would be so strange.
Then summer comes and you just have no soccer to go watch. It would be really sad for me.
That would be difficult.
I know that why they want to do it, but That's just a little bit of context for folks who are sort of wondering, well, what would the potential schedule look like?
Yeah.
All right, let's get into what's making us feel like a lunatic. We're going to start with a listener submission.
Okay.
Hey, Chris here. You know what makes me feel like a lunatic? Is when people don't pick up their dog's poop. I mean, what are they thinking? Their dog obviously just took a shit right in front of them, and they're just going to walk away? Who they expect is going to pick it up?
All right, thanks, Chris, for
Not
that
them.
submission. Not them. It is. I mean, that's real.
That's bad. It is bad. It's really, really bad.
Yeah.
I know that, at one point we had 2 dogs, and, we have one right now. There's always a roll of the poop bags. But he doesn't go on walks anymore. He's too old. Doesn't care anymore. But yeah, that's a big one.
Responsible dog ownership is keeping your dog from barking over and over again while your neighbors are trying to enjoy their day and picking up their poop when they go for a walk.
It actually just reminded me the other day. I saw a guy who was heading, I guess it would be north on Lindale.
Yeah.
And I always see him because he's in my neighborhood somewhere, and he's got a really energetic dog. And I looked over, and he had the dog's poop bag tied to the dog's collar, like a harness thing. So he's like, well, you pooped, you got to carry it.
I guess.
Dog didn't care.
All right. What's making you feel like a lunatic these days?
Okay. There's a pattern here. Just got off the road trips. It's always driving related.
Okay.
I hate when people only focus on whatever's directly in front of them when driving. This drives you crazy too, because it's like we're all in a system here.
Yeah.
You got to pay attention. And then you see those people, you're coming in the left lane, and I'm usually on the faster side, right? And you see the person kind of just creeping along, getting close, and they move in the left lane in front of you, and they don't speed up. They just keep going there, whatever the cruise is, and they just keep going forward. And meanwhile, there's 5 cars behind them.
Lack of awareness of their surroundings.
You got to be aware of what other people. Is there somebody merging? Should you slow down, speed up, change lanes? The world is your oyster. Pick any of them. Just get out of the way.
Yeah, but it's not so much of your oyster that you can do whatever the F you want, and not piss off other people.
There's plenty of options to drive respectfully. Anyway, what's making you a lunatic, Dan?
I think I'm going to go with this one. It's the all-you-can-eat buffets and the feeling that you have to eat your money back. You know the feeling. You totally know the feeling.
Absolutely.
I brought the kids after their swimming lessons
and
to
when
an
the kids are there,
all-you-can-eat buffet. Right, because then you're feeling like you actually have to eat more food for the money you spent for them. Because my kids ate probably like $3.50 worth of food at this thing.
There's usually something random, like during the winter time, there'll be watermelon, and that's all they eat is the watermelon. Whatever.
They went after the melon pretty hard.
Yeah. That's a bad one.
But then it's like $25 for me to get in, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to the seafood. Maybe I'll just take some food and throw it in the trash.
Just throw it on the floor.
No, I don't do that. I don't do that. But it's that feeling like, oh, I guess I'm going to get another plate because I spent so much money to walk through this door.
Yeah.
Maybe I should just not go to those places.
I had a friend in high school. His dad had it figured out at the Old Country Buffets. Remember the Old Country Buffets?
Yeah, I do.
He would get there, and he'd make, whenever they went there, he had to go to the Old Country Buffet, and he'd get there at 3:00 to pay the lunch rate, and then eat through until 5:00 when they started bringing out the dinner food.
That's too much. What is it? Did he bring a laptop? This is pre-Wi-Fi. What was he doing?
Eating the whole time. Just eating the whole time. So then he's like, yeah, you get the entrees then at the lunch price. I'm like, no one can wait an hour and a half.
So he enters at lunch, pays the lunch rate, eats lunch, sticks around, eats dinner.
Well, I think it's more of like he snacks on what's available at 3:00 until like 4:30 when the entrees start coming
so he's
out.
not eating a full lunch. He's just sort of hanging out.
He's getting dinner at the lunch price by just grazing in the meantime.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Way to go, man. You win.
He's got it figured out.
Okay, let's talk about this home game against FC Dallas.
Do we have to?
A little bit. Let's do it fast.
All right.
It's a 0-0 draw. It's the same lineup. We don't need to talk about that. We can talk about the referee a little bit. Abdou Ndiaye, his second MLS game. Maybe we should. Let's just talk about some of the chances. There was sort of like the Yeboah chance early on the left side that he's sort of weak-footed to the near post. Dane made 2 early key saves.
He did.
For the team. We had a chance on a corner kick in about the 34th minute that they never really showed a good replay of that I saw, but it looked like a really good save by Martin Pass. Like Tanny was right there in front of goal. And then Bongi hitting the post in the 40th minute. That was, you could see how much Bongi is feeling.
He just laid there. Was that the one where he laid there with his foot in the net for a little while?
No. This is the one where he fell down and he was spinning.
Yeah.
And then he kicked it hit the post, and he just like had his head in the ground for like 30 seconds as play went back upfield.
Yeah. He felt that one. We all did, though.
We all felt that for Bongi. Bongi's on a donut right now for goals. He's feeling that. Halftime, we had probably the better chances. Again, we'll just keep talking about the chance creation, but not really a super confident half of offensive soccer.
Not at all.
Defensively, gave up 2 half chances. I think you'll take that most days, but Dallas was missing so many of their key players going into this game. No Petar Musa. They didn't even start Luciano Acosta. So they really had a group that I think was told to play really physical, defensive soccer against our group and see how we responded to it.
Right.
We created some chances, and if one of those goes in, it's a different story, but it's 0-0 at half. And then we move to the second half. They actually get a shot off the crossbar on a corner kick. That's a little bit of a,
tense moment.
Tense moment. Yep. Feeling that in your stomach. And then we can start talking about some of the refereeing decisions. So along the end line, when Farrington, I think it's Logan Farrington for Dallas, gives Romero like a push into the digital boards on the end line. Like, okay, your AR saw it, right? Your assistant referee saw it. You probably saw it. You saw the push back by Nicholas Romero. Classic.
Right.
Yellow for the instigator, yellow for the reaction. He just gives it to the reaction. It's just rookie refereeing to not see what was not just incidental contact. It was a dangerous play going into a dangerous part of the field that your assistant referee should have seen.
Right. And compared that to how they were calling it in the first half with how much stuff was getting let fly with the physicality and, the rubbing, whatever, letting all that go. And all of a sudden he starts throwing flags and only on half of the people involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was inconsistent. I think that's probably putting it nicely. We get our subs in the 65th minute. I think Ramsey sees that we need to change things up. Traps on a yellow, so he comes off, and both of the center backs on either side of Boxall come off. The guys who we've been wondering who's going to start, and Morris Duggan and Carlos Harvey get some minutes out there. And a big chance comes for Minnesota from Carlos Harvey overlapping on the right side. He makes that pass really strong across the front of goal. Tanny doesn't get enough of it to put it on frame. I think that was probably one of the biggest chances, other than the free kick late in the game, that we had. I'm not convinced, Matt, that Tanny wasn't in an offside position had that ball gone in.
It did look quite. I feel like he was definitely offsides.
Yeah, it was. If that would have gone in, that would have been heartbreaking to have it pulled back.
Yeah,
maybe he was onside but
maybe it would have changed things that, like, hey, it was in. I don't know.
And also sometimes with strikers too, just putting it in the back of the net and being called offsides is still like a confidence boost.
Yeah.
So like missing it, he looked over, the flag didn't go up. So then the sinking feeling of a missed chance will sit with him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Dane makes a really great save on Luciano Acosta header. Load was tracking Acosta really, really well, but then fell asleep on the back post, and 2 Dallas players could have headed that ball toward the goal. Great save by Dane. And then it's that foul on Tanny at the edge of the box. Again, this is a dangerous scoring opportunity of our striker breaking toward a ball in the box that was held with a professional foul. And the referee did not give the player a yellow card. It's unbelievable, actually, that we were watching the same game as him.
Exactly. It's exactly what I had said out loud was, are we watching the same game right now? Because that was clearly a yellow card.
Yeah, it's taking away the offensive opportunity, and it's a professional foul. If that happens at midfield, it's a yellow card. If it happens at the 20 yards from goal, it's absolutely a yellow card, and it might be an orange card because the only thing keeping it from a red card is that defender.
That's an orange card.
It's there is no orange card. That's a term for like borderline between the two.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yellow and red mixed together.
There you go.
I was like, oh, don't mess with me. I don't have room for this.
So, but then Sam Shashua takes this shot from 20 yards out. I mean, is he really our best PK taker on the field at that moment? Not PK, but free kick taker.
I was surprised.
You got Yeboah, Rosales, Pereira all out there to whip in a curling shot. It's actually too close to the goal. Sometimes these free kicks can be too close.
Mm-hmm.
They can set up a huge wall. You can't get it over.
Well, I saw they had dudes laying on the ground on that one.
Yeah. So the whistle blows. It's 0-0. We can celebrate our 8-game unbeaten streak. It's back-to-back 0-0 draws.
I'm not celebrating an unbeaten streak.
Not for that.
Not for that.
If they win the next game or the next two, I'll start celebrating it again.
Right, but it's just an indicator that we're barely hanging on. You know,
we're barely hanging on, and
we need to get something together.
Third place in the West.
Yeah, how does that happen? It's like we're in third place. We have not lost, but we also haven't won.
In these 8, yeah, we lost our first of the year.
Right.
So when the whistle blew, what were your immediate thoughts? Just thank goodness it's over.
I think I said some bad words.
Yeah.
I think it was just like using the Lord's name in vain on Easter Sunday. Like, what in the hell, guys? Come on.
Well, it was a Saturday game, but Easter weekend. We'll give it.
We did our Easter brunch on Saturday.
Oh, you did?
Saturday,
oh, nice.
So that's why.
There you go.
Yeah, because I had a full belly.
All right, so we do have more XG. It's 1.6 to 0.7. We do outshoot the opponent, but this really felt like a game that this type of team, if we are going to be propelling to the upper echelon of MLS, is one we need to take better advantage of.
Yeah,
it felt a little bit like, the coach Ramsey, he talked about after the game, like feeling like the energy and the effort and the drive was there. It wasn't for a lack of effort. And I don't think I can really point at any player and say, like, it didn't look like you cared or tried for that game. But there also wasn't really this overt sense of urgency from the whole team to get a result, to get it done. It didn't feel like they were all pushing with everything in that moment.
I felt like as soon as they got some defensive pressure, they kind of crumbled on it. They didn't really respond to it. They weren't really moving the ball. They weren't putting themselves in shooting position consistently.
Yeah, they really did not create a lot of great scoring opportunities. No. It's the Tanny one. It's the Bongi one off the post early. It's Yeboah's little break. But really, those are all sort of half chances. So they didn't create much. So Ramsey, after the game, he's asked about the team's lack of offense. And this is a question from John Marthaler here.
How do you look at the attack sort of getting bogged down again this week?
Yeah, well, teams are defending really, really well against us now. And that element, if there was an element of surprise that led to some of the early success over the course of the first 3, 4, 5 games, then that element of surprise has of course disappeared, and you're finding teams, particularly these guys tonight, a really physical team. That back line was a really good match for our front two. They're defending against us with absolutely everything. I think you're seeing incredibly committed defensive performances. Teams are making adjustments, but I'll also say that that's not leading to a lack of chances. We've had good chances tonight.
So what are your thoughts on Coach Ramsey's comment there? We've had good chances. It's not a lack of chances.
Well, I think his first response saying that they're figuring us out.
Yeah,
I don't know that I buy that a whole lot. I mean, there's probably some of that's come out there.
I think these last 2 games, Toronto and Dallas, they're not pushing with numbers. They're being sort of cautious with their back line, and they're not their line of confrontation when we do have possession is deeper. They're not giving the space behind them. I think that's true both in the Toronto game and the Dallas game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that, we've said it a couple of times that they're still creating scoring chances, which is a good thing. It's just they need to connect and make them put them in the net.
I think both these last 2 games have felt like there are other games this year where I felt like the scoring chances that they were creating were really high value.
Yeah.
And actually, Josh Truax wrote a little bit about to me in an email about how the XG per shot these last 2 games has been going down. Like the quality of the scoring chances these last 2 games has gone down.
Yeah. And that definitely makes sense, because how many times did we have much more dramatic opportunities to score in previous games. Like, oh, but we're still making chances.
Yeah.
We didn't have that in the last game.
No, you can't look at it really any one major chance. Maybe Tanny at the end there on the cross from Harvey, you could say was a major chance. But really, you're not like, if Bongi would have put away that easy one. No, there weren't. We didn't create high XG scoring opportunities.
No.
Let's talk about the things we liked in this game first. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think a couple of times I was just thankful that Dane was there.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, at least we have a rock star goalie.
Yeah, he's doing good shot stopping back
He did
there.
a couple of tips and whatever that had some nice saves. And it's like, because if we lost, oh God, it'd be even worse.
Right.
Way worse.
And Dane, it's his 5th clean sheet. He's at 8 starts. So 5 clean sheets in 8 starts is nothing to sneeze at. He's only given up, I think, 5 goals in total this year from when he started, because he was out for the LA Galaxy game when 2 were scored. So it is a shutout streak of 180 minutes, these 2 games combined. When I was traveling, I didn't get to watch this live. So that's one thing I liked, that I didn't watch it live, because then when I rewatched it, I could speed through some parts of it. So that was one thing I liked.
Save yourself the pain.
Right. And the only other thing I wrote down here is that maybe the Loons gave all their good mojo to the T-Wolves to win at the Los Angeles Lakers in game 1 of the playoffs.
Solid theory. I think it's wrong, but it's a solid theory.
Okay. There's only so much Minnesota sports good luck that can exist in any given night.
And it seems like they're all splitting it evenly, so no one gets ahead.
Right. Except the Wolves, they take game 1.
Yeah, the Wolves, they did. Yeah.
All right. So things we didn't like.
Lackluster offense.
Yep.
Absence of any sort of trying and fire.
Yep. I think Kelvin Yeboah has gone sort of quiet, and part of that's service, but also part of that is when he's getting his sort of opportunities in space, he's not.
Yep.
He's either pushing it when he should hold it up, or he's holding it up when he should push it. Obviously, like the refereeing, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
I wonder if this team, if we had maybe more depth at key positions, midfield, there could be a little bit of a shakeup. I feel like running out the same lineup, I think there's something about the consistency that's good. They are keeping high value scoring chances away from their own net generally. So still on the defensive side, one of the best defensive teams in MLS, but at the expense of offense right now. Does this team need a sort of a lineup shakeup?
I think we need midfielders that are going to produce, but maybe a shakeup is in order, because we're still creating opportunities, just not fully connecting. So what piece is out of the alignment?
Right. What if we went to a 4-2-3-1 and only played one of our strikers? And I don't know who you bench, and I don't know what that conversation's like. And it's not benching them, but what if, we tried a 4-3-3? What if we brought Bongi up higher and got him up there on a 3 line with Tanny and Yeboah? I think I'd be curious to get into the sort of the coach's head right now in their conversations on how seriously they might be considering not a full scale change, but just some more serious tinkering with the starting lineup and the formation.
A large tweak.
There you go. We did have some MN prophecies coming into this game, all of them overly optimistic. So I'm just going to run through a list of them here, and then you can give a rating for all of them.
Okay.
So Loons by 4, Kelvin scores 5, Loons score 4 in the first half. Then we have a narrow win, Loons win a close one, 2-1, and Bongi and Lode both score.
Everyone needs to hang your heads in shame because you've failed.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good rating. And then we had one that totally was right. This is from Danny. Wolves win the battle in the paint and take game 1. Wait, wrong sport. That's what he said.
Confirmed.
Yeah, he's right.
Confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, Wolves out-rebounded the Lakers by 6. They had more than 12. They had 12 more points in the paint than the Lakers. So, Danny, you're right on the nose with that one. All right. Let's have that take us into Loonlit Matt's Chaos Corner. What do you got for us?
I got a little bit of a hack for you this week.
Oh, let's hear it.
It's that season. We're getting the fire pits dug out and restored or brought out. This is a hack for extending the life, whether it's brand new or several years old.
Oh, does it matter what material we're talking about?
Well, hopefully it's steel.
Okay.
Yeah, steel only. What you want to do if it's used, clean it all up a little bit. Put it couple coats, 2 coats, maybe 3 coats of the grill paint, high temperature grill paint.
You need to brush it out first with
get the chunks off.
Okay.
You don't have to
steel
be
wool
perfect.
or something.
Steel wool or a wire brush or whatever. I did mine right off the bat, brand new, just to extend the life even longer because they put a really crappy finish on there. And once that starts melting or falling off, then it starts rusting. So
I could
grill
really use
paint,
this.
grill paint, whether it's brand new or not, couple of coats. It's usually available in black, so hope you like black.
Yeah,
but
for the inside of a fire pit.
For the inside of a fire pit or the outside too, to extend it longer. I do the whole thing.
Oh wow!
But it's more of it makes more of an epoxy finish on it. Much harder and durable.
All right, good one.
Extend the life.
I
of
like
your
that. That's
fire
actually
pit.
one I could use. Can you just come over to my house and do it though?
Yeah, I read between the lines on that one, Dan.
All right, let's talk about this Vancouver Whitecaps home game coming up. They did move this to Sunday, 2 p.m. Matt, first question. What do you know about the Vancouver Whitecaps?
Well, I think Vancouver sounds like a lovely place to visit.
Okay.
And Whitecaps are just a lovely snack, a little chocolatey snack. So
what is a Whitecap?
Well, aren't those a little chocolate, looking like almost like a chocolate chip with some sprinkles on top?
Oh, maybe.
Oh.
What about the soccer team?
I have no idea.
Well, I mean, we've talked about them enough. You know, they're doing well.
I know their coach is not coached by Brian Black.
And that's not their leading scorer either.
Yeah. Leading scorer.
Their head coach is Jesper Sorensen, first-year head coach. Historically, between Minnesota United and Vancouver, it's pretty even. We got 6 wins, 4 draws, 5 losses. We did split the series last year, each road team winning. We won in Vancouver in October, and they won at Allianz in July. They are first in the West, first in the Supporters Shield standings, and they have been missing one of their best players, Ryan Gauld, for most of it. And they've done all of this work at the CONCACAF Champions Cup without him as well. They are coming off their own 0-0 draw, so hopefully we won't have our third 0-0 draw, and they won't have their second consecutive 0-0 draw. They were in St. Louis. It was a fairly even game between those two. And the thing that I think is going to impact this game the most potentially is their CONCACAF Champions Cup schedule against Inter Miami.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it a little bit already, but Vancouver stays home and Miami travels on Thursday of this week. They have 2 off days, and then they come to play a Sunday game in Minnesota before they go to Miami on Wednesday for the second leg. Clearly, for this Vancouver team, the priority is going to be the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinals. They have a finals of a major continental tournament within reach for this team.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to imagine they're going to put all of their eggs in that basket. But they've been doing that and still defeating teams like Austin 5-1 handily.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a little bit of I almost call it a trap game where the better team comes in maybe less motivated, but if they get a goal, then, who knows where the heads are at and who knows where this game goes. It'll be interesting to see who they play, but Brian White has 6 goals on the year for them. But this is a team that's been scoring with depth. They have 10 players who have scored at least 1 goal this year.
Wow.
I think our number is 4.
Right.
They have 10.
Holy crap.
Yeah. And Brian White's a big physical sort of hold up forward. If he plays, I think the matchup to watch is Boxall and Brian White. He often will sort of post up on Boxall and try to receive and then give it back to his midfielder and give space for his wingers down the side. So It's sort of a low-key big game for Minnesota, having a chance to take points from the number one team in the West while you're sort of right behind them, while they're in the middle of being sort of focused on something else. So, Matt, are you feeling good about our chances?
I was until you started talking about their depth.
Well, I mean, I don't really know how deep their team is, but they've been proving to be deeper than most.
Well, 10 players who scored at least one goal. I
Yeah.
mean, that's pretty consistent. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what happens though when your team is playing as one unit, playing consistently together.
Well, and
it seems like our guys still don't trust, not that they don't trust each other, but they haven't found the same rhythm yet to trust that they can pass it over that way, or,
Vancouver's playing a totally different brand of soccer than the Loons are right now.
What brand is it? I want that brand.
It's a little bit more free-flowing, offensive, risk-taking soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done it in a way so far that hasn't led to a defensive collapse. And I don't watch enough of their games to know why, but I think when you think about like Columbus right now,
Mm-hmm.
Columbus, coached by Wilfred Nancy, he's always preached basically just keep the ball, try to pull the defenders out of positions, and then as you move further up the field with the ball by connecting passes, you're only going to have to beat the 5 players that are left because you pulled players up the field by maintaining possession. We never try to keep possession in our final third.
Mm-hmm.
If we get any pressure in our final third, we're kicking it long to Tanny and Calvin, and we're hoping to win a second ball.
Mm-hmm.
But when you watch Vancouver play, they're going to find the open player, find the open player, and eventually the defense gets discombobulated and they find a way to move forward. Columbus has had some epic goals scored against them where their defenders give the ball right away to an offensive player, but they stick with it and they practice it and they believe in it so much that even when they give up a crap goal from passing it to another player on the other team to score an easy goal, they still win 4-1.
They're still confident they're going to still score goals when they need to.
And I think Vancouver is doing a little bit more of that style of complete, using the entire field to possess the ball, a little bit less afraid to possess the ball in their own third, knowing that they'll gain an advantage further up the field.
Got it.
All right. Last segment.
Droppings.
We're getting pretty close here. So I got this on the agenda here. The messy prognosis. Like, is he going to play, right? So
okay.
Is he going to come to Minnesota and play? He's only missed 2 MLS games so far this year, and they played at Columbus. This game was actually in Cleveland, but they played against Columbus in Cleveland because they moved it to a bigger stadium.
Mm-hmm.
And Messi goes 90. Their schedule going into the Minnesota game, they have this Vancouver Thursday game. They go home for Dallas. Then they stay home for the Vancouver game. They stay home for New York Red Bulls. Then they have a week off before Messi decides whether he wants to come visit beautiful Minnesota.
I think with the week off, he's coming.
I think he's coming if he's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any? Is that your guess right now?
Yeah, I'm guessing that
if he's healthy, he comes and he plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the week off before, I don't think there's really a reason. Assuming he's not injured. Yeah. I'm sure he's going to be here, and you're going to see him.
It's going to be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Droppings.
All right, we got another goal that is sort of comical, right? We talked about the Austin defender who took the ball off the face and then it still went in the goal last time.
Yeah.
So this is in Norway. This is Fredrikstad versus Brann. There's these 2 players go for a header sort of like on the edge of the box. One of them falls down. The defender falls down and the ball bounces out to a player. For Fredrikstad, he takes a shot and it's a low-driven shot, and it hits the player, the defender, on the ground. He's like 18 yards from goal and perfectly loops over the goalie and into the goal.
Oh, no.
You should look this up. It's very funny. But you're laying on the ground, the ball comes and slams into your shoulder.
You send it into orbit, and it goes right in.
And it goes into your own goal. Is that worse than an own goal off the face, Matt?
Yeah.
A little bit
worse because
so far from goal.
So far from goal. That's really hard to say. So far from goal because, I mean, when the dude took the blast to the face, he really couldn't do anything about it. It just kind of went there.
Yeah, if he ducked, it was going in for sure.
Where that dude could have, like, rolled over, put a hand up.
Right, roll over, man.
droppings.
All right, we do have to talk about a U.S. Open Cup game. I don't know if you've caught the fever yet, but this is the Phoenix Rising win at Tulsa, FC Tulsa. It's in the 120th minute. Tulsa has a PK to win this game at home. The Phoenix goalie saves it with an extended right hand in the lower corner. He's the hero. The game almost immediately goes to PKs. That same goalie saves the first 2 penalty kicks. That Tulsa team had the game in their hand. They lose at home to Phoenix Rising. So have you caught the U.S. Open Cup fever yet?
I'm catching it. I'm feeling it.
You're totally
feeling the heat.
Loon droppings.
All right, we got to go quickly to the Europa League quarterfinals. There was an epic game played between Manchester United and Lyon. And I apologize to my friend Adam. He's a fan of Lyon, but this is not going to be something he might want to just fast forward or tune out here. So it was 2-2 from the game in France. So the 2-legged tie goes to England. Manchester United scores the first 2 goals. So they're up 4-2. Lyon comes back with 2 unanswered. So it heads to extra time at 4-4. Lyon in extra time scores 2 goals. They're up 6-4.
Holy cow.
In the 114th minute, they're up 6-4 in aggregate. They're up 4-2 on the night. Manchester United scores 3 goals before the end of the game. It doesn't even go to penalty kicks.
What?
The 114th minute, the 120th minute, and the 121st minute.
Holy cow.
Harry Maguire scores in the 121st minute to score 3 unanswered within 7 minutes to win the game without going to PKs. It ends 7-6.
Oh my gosh.
Aggregate 5-4 on the night.
Holy cow. That's awesome.
So then the other funny part of this, Lyon, they have a rivalry with Saint Etienne, and Saint Etienne fans, of course, want to troll this loss of Lyon.
Of course. Naturally.
So
without a doubt.
So they get 2 customized Saint Etienne jerseys, number 5 for the 5th goal, and a number 4. And it says, Merci, Maguire. Thank you, Maguire. In their own jerseys, just trolling Lyon in this game. Would you, Matt, buy a custom Loons jersey with a non-Loon name on it just to troll a rival?
Personally, I would not, but if somebody bought it for me, I'd wear it with pride.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. This was episode 57, this time dedicated to the Timberwolves playoff victory.
Bye-bye.
All right. That's it for us. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of The Looney Bin. Feel free to write us at theloonybinpod@gmail.com or connect with us on Blue Sky at Looney Bin Podcast. And as always,
come on, you loons.